Hey everyone, Dr. Franke here with a great new unboxing for you. If you read the title, this is the Boos Blades Smoke. So if you look at this packaging, you'll recognize this immediately as one of the WE Knives pouches. That is because this knife is actually manufactured by WE Knives, but this is designed by an American named William Boos. This is actually his second knife. The first knife that they had was the Arrow, and that was a regular flipper. This is actually a front flipper, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But in the pouch that it ships with, you get a couple of neat things. You get this cool sticker with their dog logo on it, which I like a whole lot. I think that's a neat thing. I'm sure there's a story behind that I don't know a whole lot about. And then the Boos Blade Certificate of Authenticity, the Smoke TS1, done in S35VN with a titanium handle, manufactured during the holidays of this year. I actually just got this knife yesterday, so I'm happy to bring you this video. So this is the Boos Blades Smoke TS1. I'm a little bit behind the curve here. This is actually the second run of this knife that they've done, but this time they offered it in a color that was absolutely appealing to Dr. Franke, and that is this amazing green. Of course, I'm going to pick the knife up in green. If you give me that option, that is what I'm going to get, because I absolutely love it. Why do I like green? Well, it's very difficult to achieve in anodizing, and so it says volumes about a company or a manufacturer or a maker if they're able to achieve a nice green. It means they know what they're doing in terms of titanium anodizing, and it also looks really cool. That's why I really like it. So, unlike their first model, this one is a front flipper, which is very unique. And in fact, I've got a video that's going to come out soon discussing sort of this new fad of front flippers. This seems to be the whole new thing here, and it's very interesting to me to see that so many people are moving to this type of a model here. So why don't we go ahead and compare our Boos Smoke to a few of these other knives right here. I've got the Olamic Busker down here, a very small knife. I've got the Gareth Bull Shamwari, and I've got the Kaiser Feist going on right here. So if you've seen any or all of these knives, you know what we're looking at here. Move some of these off screen. We'll get a couple of other knives coming in right now. How about a Spyderco Paramilitary 2? So you can see the Smoke is actually kind of a long knife. It's smaller than the PM2, but you get a nice long blade and a very, very slim handle. I actually like that a whole lot. This pleasantly surprised me with its size. I thought it was going to be even longer than it is, but it's actually a very perfect size. So here's another couple of common Spydercos for a size comparison. You've got the Manix 2 going on here. Very, very, very similar in overall size profile with the Manix 2 and that Shaman that was up there for just a minute. So you can kind of get a sense that this is a long knife, but a very skinny knife. So here's another couple of sort of longer, skinnier knives. Here's an Arcform Slim Foot. How about a Giant Mouse GM3 for size comparison? Here's a thicker knife right here, my ZT0392. Bring out, how about a Benchmade Anthem right here? Another common knife that some people might have some experience with. Here's a CKF Gavco spinner collaboration right there. Nice knife going on right there. Very similar in overall size profile again. And how about I bring out just one of my other green knives here. Here's the Spyderco Myrtle that I just got recently anodized green. That one was done by Spade Knife Works, and you'll see that his green is quite consistent to the WE Knives green, so you know that Spade knows how to do a nice green. Anyways, back to the knife right here. Let's get some actual specifics on this knife right there. So up front, your cutting edge is right at 3.5 inches, and it goes all the way back to a nice sharpening choil. That's really nice. Back to the pivot is about 4 inches. Overall, you're right at exactly 8 inches of overall length, with a 4.5 inch handle and about a 4.1 inch handle grip area. The knife is actually quite slim in this dimension. We're looking at 0.7 inches in this dimension. Most knives are at least an inch in that dimension. The overall thickness is 0.44 inches in the pocket, and the blade stock is coming in at 0.14, about 147 thousandths in terms of its overall blade stock. Let's go ahead and look at that blade. That is CPM S35VN, done in an amazingly nice full flat grind. This was the biggest surprise of all. This blade is actually one of the most functional slicing blades that I've come across. You know, the Spyderco full flat grind is really nice, but so many knife manufacturers out there are trying to build big, stocky, beefy things, but it's always refreshing to see people come along with a nice full flat grind. The GM3 did that as well, and a few other knives are like that, but I think these two knives are relatively similar in terms of their newness and in terms of their overall philosophies. They're very, very good for everyday use, and an incredible slicer. It came unbelievably sharp. Now, I ran this across my 3.5 micron strop a little bit, and now it's just unbelievably, terrifyingly sharp. And so that's always a good thing. I like that a lot. The crown, the spine has been chamfered a little bit, so it's not sharp right here. It's very comfortable. And it's got this nice little cutout right here. Now, I'm not always the biggest fan of these cutouts, but what it allows you to do on this knife is a nice spidey flick, and it does do that very nicely. It's mostly out of the way of the cutting path, and unless you're actually doing some aggressive organic material cutting, you're really not going to get a whole lot stuck up in there. But that is just something to be cognizant of. It's not really my favorite thing to have a groove like that, but it works just fine, and it flows with the rest of the knife, and it's a nice artistic piece. I love the way that it flows even past the ricasso here. It's super, super nice. I like that a lot. It looks pretty, and it makes this knife kind of look like a spaceship, honestly. That's kind of the feeling that I get from it. Moving back, it runs on very, very smooth ball bearings. I believe that there's ceramic in there, We Knife ceramic ball bearings. It's got this very neat pivot fixture on the front, which means that that's not going to freely rotate. It's got a nice big pivot screw on the back. I will do a disassembly of this knife ultimately, just because I'm curious about seeing what's going on the inside. A perfect pivot, honestly. I like it. It's stylized on one side. You're not putting your screw on this side. The one thing that peeves me a lot of the times about some makers is that they put the screw that unscrews on the presentation side. So if you're going to strip it out, you're going to strip out the presentation side, which kind of sucks. This, at least they had the forethought to put the screw on the lock side. So if you have any trouble or you scrape it up, it's at least not on the presentation side. That's a nice little thought right there by Mr. Boos. So I like that a whole lot. The action is very, very smooth. As you can see, it is a front flipper deployment. That thing is very prominent up there. If you just get your thumb on it and give it a push, it opens right up. You can open it a number of different ways. I showed you the spider flick. You can reach around it and pull that tab just like that. You can get your thumb sort of in there and open it up like this. You can do the Spidey drop like that. You know, Olamic is coming out right now with their busker, and they're talking about how there are 10 different ways or more to open this thing, which there are, but just as many ways to open that busker, you can open up this Boos Blades Smoke. And so I really, really appreciate that. Always nice to have a bunch of different ways to open a knife, and it is ridiculously, ridiculously smooth. That's a little bit of a small notch, so you got to get used to doing the Spidey flick and getting your fingernail trapped on that right there. Moving back to the handles, we were done in 6AO4V titanium. Absolutely beautiful handles. Very, very slim in the pocket. This thing is going to just absolutely vanish in the pocket, hide all the way back in the corner and not get in the way of anything. And of course, it's done in this awesome green. I really love green, and I think that they've achieved a really nice color here. It's stone washed, so I don't have to worry about messing the finish up too much. It's going to hide wear. It's got an anodized titanium backspacer with an integrated lanyard hole, which I think is tastefully done. It doesn't really detract from the look of the knife. And overall, it's a very simple construction. The pocket clip is 3D milled, but it's actually cut in such a way that the spring is amazing. There's a good amount of spring, and it's enough height that you can put that into almost any type of pant. So I know that this is going to function well. And thank everything that's good that they put this clip way up here rather than right next to the lock bar relief. Too many knife makers are doing that, and it bunches things up. So I think this is going to carry quite well. It came perfectly centered, and I can't complain about that. So I'm really looking forward to carrying this knife. This is just an initial impressions and sort of an unboxing video. There will be a final diagnosis ultimately, and I will be carrying this a whole lot. I think that this is going to be an excellent EDC knife. I want to just say that I had some prejudice before buying this that I just didn't think I was going to like it at all. And to be honest, my initial impressions have totally reversed that opinion of mine, and I have a feeling I'm actually really going to like this blade. So thanks to Boos Blades for making this thing. I paid for this myself. This was not sent to me, so this is my knife. Thanks to everyone for watching. Follow me here. Click like and subscribe to my channel here. Follow me on Instagram at Dr. Frunky. And as always, take care.